an Italian farmer communist militant captured in Bolivia will be extradited to Rome in the coming hours, Italy's government says. Cesare Battisti,
64,
is wanted for farm murders in Italy during the 1970s, which he denies committing. He was found in Santa Cruz de la Sierra in an international police operation after escaping from prison in Italy. Battisti lived 4 years in Brazil, but vanished after an arrest warrant was issued last month. In a message on Facebook, Italian Prime Minister Cesare Battisti said a flight would take Battisti straight to Rome. The fugitive is expected to arrive in Rome on Monday afternoon. Local media say, "We are satisfied with this result that our country has been waiting for too many years," Mr. Conte said. He thanked the Bolivian authorities and singled out Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro for his effective cooperation that led to Battisti's capture. The far-right Brazilian leader, who took office on 1 January, had pledged to extradite Battisti. Battisti was arrested by a special Interpol team on Saturday, around 17:00, 21:00 GMT, on a street of the central Bolivian city. He was alone, wearing sunglasses and a beard, which was fake according to Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera. He did not resist or try to escape. Bolivian Interior Minister Carlos Romero said Battisti had entered Bolivia illegally. Italian police published a video on Twitter that purports to show him moments before his arrest. Battisti spent years in Brazil as a refugee, backed by former left-wing President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, but former President Michel Temer revoked his status as a permanent resident in December, when an arrest warrant was issued. Battisti, who has a 5-year-old Brazilian son, told up last year he would face torture and death if he returned to Italy. In December, Brazil's federal police had released a picture showing possible disguises that Battisti might use. Brazilian politician Eduardo Bolsonaro, one of the president's sons, tweeted to Italy's Interior Minister Matteo Salvini, "Brazil is no longer a land of bandits. The little gift is coming." In 1979, Battisti was convicted of belonging to a far-left terrorist group outlawed in Italy, the Armed Proletarians for Communism, PAC. He escaped from prison in 1981. Later, he was convicted in absentia for killing 2 Italian law officials, for taking part in a separate murder, and for planning another, which left the victim's 4-year-old son in a wheelchair after a shootout. Battisti has admitted being part of the PAC, but denies responsibility for the murders. Since his escape, he has gone on to become a successful writer of police novels. Battisti lived in France and Mexico before escaping to Brazil to avoid being extradited. He was arrested by Brazilian authorities in 2007, prompting the Italian government to request his extradition under an existing bilateral treaty. But Brazil's then-president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva granted Mr. Battisti refugee status in 2010, a move that drew strong criticism from Italy. Battisti was arrested again in 2017 for carrying a large amount of undeclared cash whilst trying to cross into Bolivia from Brazil. Mr. Bolsonaro made his intentions clear in October 2018, tweeting, in Portuguese and Italian. Here I reaffirm my commitment to extradite the terrorist Cesare Battisti, loved by the Brazilian left. We will show the world our total repudiation and commitment to the fight against terrorism. Brazil deserves respect. The United States military says it has killed 62 fighters from the Islamist group Al-Shabaab in 6 airstrikes in Somalia. 4 airstrikes on Saturday killed 32 militants, and a further 2 on Sunday killed 28, it said in a statement. These were the deadliest air attacks in Somalia since November 2017, when the United States said it had killed 100 militants. Somalia has seen a sharp increase in the number of airstrikes and casualties since President Donald Trump took office in the United States in January 2017. A tally by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism reveals that at least 400 people have been killed in airstrikes since the beginning of 2017, far more than the previous 10 years combined. The latest strikes bring to at least 30 the number carried out in Somalia so far this year, compared with 35 recorded in 2017. The United States has a huge military base in neighboring Djibouti, from where it launches attacks on the militants. Mr. Trump gave the United States military greater authority in March 2017 to attack militants in Somalia. Traditionally, United States presidents have been wary of intervening in Somalia since 80 Special Forces soldiers died fighting militias in the capital Mogadishu in 1993, a battle dramatized in the film Black Hawk Down. No civilians were killed in the latest airstrikes, which were carried out in coordination with the Somali government, the United States military said. Alongside our Somali and international partners, we are committed to preventing Al-Shabaab from taking advantage of safe havens from which they can build capacity and attack the people of Somalia, the United States Africa Command said. Al-Shabaab, which is linked to Al-Qaeda, has not yet commented on the latest strikes. Somalia-based security think tank the High Royal Institute said in a report published in November that Al-Shabaab had been forced to change tactics following the upsurge in airstrikes. The institute said the group was now conducting fewer mass attacks on military bases, but attacks on government offices and businesses which refused to pay its taxes had increased markedly. The United States State Department, in its most recent report on terrorism, described Somalia as a terrorist safe haven, and said Al-Shabaab remained a threat. Despite suffering setbacks, the group retained control over large parts of the country, and the ability to carry out high-profile attacks using suicide bombers, explosive devices, mortars, and small arms. The report added, 2 Scandinavian women tourists have been found dead in Morocco, with kids to their necks, the country's interior ministry said. Both bodies were found near the town of Imlia in the high Atlas mountain range, near the foot of North Africa's highest peak, Mount Dabco. The women, from Denmark and Norway respectively, have not yet been named. A police investigation has been launched into their deaths. The Interior Ministry statement said, a poacher has been ordered to watch the Disney film Bambi repeatedly after he was convicted of illegally killing hundreds of deer. Missouri hunter David Barry, Jr., must view the film at least once a month during his year-long sentence. He was arrested in August along with 2 family members for killing the deer, taking their heads and leaving their bodies to rot. Prosecutors said it is reportedly one of the biggest poaching cases in Missouri history. On top of the jail sentence for the illegal deer hunting, Judge Robert George ordered Barry Jr. to view the Walt Disney movie Bambi, with the first viewing being on or before December 24, 2018, and at least one such viewing each month thereafter, during his spell in prison.